Good morning and welcome to Moxi Monday. We are at 10:15, so we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Elizabeth.Glass. My email, if you need to reach me after this session, is Elizabeth.Glass@cbschmidtohio.com. So today I'm actually calling in from my cell phone. If you were on a previous Moxi Monday with me, you know I started what I call Moxi Mobile sessions, and basically I'm going to show you guys how to use Moxi, but from your cell phone. The previous session that we had, I just did a brief overview of the layout and then just also showed you how to use the My Account section. Today, we're actually going to go into your cell phones and show you firsthand, as I do it from my phone, how to use Moxi Present, so your presentation tool. Creating a presentation live is what I'm going to do for you right now on my cell phone so you can see how simple and easy it is. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Can you confirm somebody again? Can you make sure that you can hear me? Somebody unmute and let me know, please. And thank you. And see my Moxi account screen. You should be seeing my phone screen right now.
Yes.
Be here and see you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get started. Basically, the great news is that this is not a mobile app. I like that it's not a mobile app because they take up space on your phone, and I never have space because I have so many other apps I need all the time. This is basically just going to your internet browser and going to Moxi. And because it is mobile responsive, it means it lays it out in the way that your device needs based off the size of your device. So it's going to be just the same as if you were using it on your computer. Just a couple little things like where the menu is a little bit different. So I'm just going to navigate you to show you how to do it from your phone. Now, I want you to be very thoughtful about the busy life that you have. Are you always in the grocery store, going to some store to pick something up? Are you at the office? Are you picking your children up from, school? And are you in the parking lot, in the line? There's just a million different things you can be doing. I want you to know that as long as you're parked, you can use Moxi from anywhere you have an internet connection and any device. So that means computer, iPad, cell phone. You can do iPhone or a Droid. It doesn't matter. You just need to have internet capability. So right now you can see that I'm actually on my cell phone and I'm at Moxi. The first thing I'm going to do is very quickly reiterate how to log into it from your phone. And this is going to be the same for any phone, but it might just be a little bit different depending on what apps you have. So if you can see now, you are on my home screen. So this is my wall, right? My basic screen I see on my cell phone. For you guys, all you're going to do is you're going to go open up where your apps show. And whatever internet browser you have on your cell phone is what you're going to click. So as an example for me, I'm going to touch the Chrome button because that's my internet browser. It is preferred for you to use Chrome when utilizing Moxi. Even if you have an iPhone and it's based off Safari, you can still download the Chrome app just to get the access to that internet browser. Simply put, we are going to click right on your internet browser. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up a window just like you normally would see. And you're able to utilize the Google search bar here. So just like what if you were looking for a car or a new mattress or something, what you would do is you would type that in right there where it says search or type address. That's the search area. We're literally just going to tap right in that area. And this is the same depending, even if it's Safari or Chrome or Bing or Yahoo, it doesn't matter what it is. We're ultimately just opening up the internet browser on your phone. Just like we would tap in an address to go to the bank or something like that, you're just literally going to type in my.schmidtresources.com. That is the login address to get into Moxi. So again, that's my.schmidtresources.com. We're going to go ahead and hit enter. It's now going to take us to your Moxi site, and you'll have to log in the first time just because it's going to need to know your username and password. But the beauty is then after that, each time you come here, if you look at my screen right now before it completes loading, you can see I have icons on here of things I've previously gone to. So the beauty is, since I've done this on my cell phone once, the next time I go in, let me show you how to do it really quick again. The next time I were to go in and I would click on new tab browser, I could actually click right on that CB icon because it remembered that I went there before. Tap right on that CB icon, which is underneath the address. You see our CB right there where it says roster. When I tap on that, it's now not only taking me to Moxi, it's literally logging me in. So yes, username and password. So again, just simplicity to make it easy for you guys. And again, it's not an app, so it's not taking up any space. Now let's go ahead and jump in. If you can notice here, the view is very similar to when it logs you into your My Account homepage screen. So now the only difference here is where are your navigational icons? If you can see my photo, you'll actually see that there are little lines, like a sandwich, kind of 4 lines right next to my head. That is your menu option. 9 times out of 10, when you're on the computer or iPad or a device that's smaller like a cell phone, that little icon, that picture with those little lines in, it's always going to be your menu. So when I tap on it, it gives me the options for that page. So if you notice, when we were in the My Account section, this is exactly the same as it is on your computer. So you don't lose capabilities. But now when it comes to the platform itself, so let's say, for example, we want to look at Moxi Present or Moxi Engage or websites, we're actually going to locate where it has the menu tab on the top internet browser. Give me 1 second to make sure mine is loading correctly. If you notice, just like if it were on your computer, on the very top navigational panel, it's blue. You also have your Coldwell Banker logo or your Century 21 logo, depending on which brand you're with. Next to that, to the right, would be where it would say Hub, Engage, Present, Websites. In this situation, all it's doing is it's laying out a little bit differently so that you can view things the way you need to on your device. Now, instead of just clicking on where it would say Present, we're going to click on the word More. So if you notice at the very top of my screen, that blue bar, the word More is there with a drop-down box. I'm going to tap that. And if you can see, we have all capabilities of doing Moxi right from your phone. So Hub, Present, Engage, Website, Directory, Promote. The way you would access those platforms is by clicking on that right here in the More options. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a presentation on the fly right now using your phone. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the Present button, and it's going to load Moxi Present. There we go. So I have all of the same options. I do not lose any capability by doing this on my cell phone. That's the beauty. The first thing it's doing is it's loading my presentation library. So these are all of the presentations I've previously made, but instead of them being stacked right to left like they would have been on your computer because you had more space, they're just stacking them on top of each other so you can very swiftly swipe up and down to get the one you want. Let me go back actually. But the great news is, again, it showcases it to you exactly like you have it on the computer. There's no new learning here. We're just going to show you where the options are and then let you facilitate making one on your own today when we get off this call. Take a look at that first one. Everything still shows. The presentation that I made previously for this seller named Sally, everything's the same. To the right of the photo, there's a little pencil or like an edit icon on the top right. If I were to click on that, it would open that previously made presentation up and allow me to edit it right now. So that's exactly the same as if it were on your computer. There also shows in here whether I shared it with another person or not. There's a little icon underneath the pencil that looks like 2 people. That's telling me I've shared that presentation. Again, exactly like it is on the computer. Underneath that little icon to the right on the bottom, there are 3 dots. Typically, using a cell phone, anytime there's 3 dots or 3 lines, that's going to be your sandwich, your subject items of your menu. So if I were to tap on those 3 dots, notice how my options are the same as if I were on the computer. View, email, settings, duplicate. So if I wanted to take this presentation and make a different presentation for somebody else using a different MLS number, I could click duplicate right here. It would make a copy of that presentation. And then I could very quickly switch out the MLS number and bam, in seconds, I have a brand new presentation for somebody new, but it's going to connect all that new MLS data and clear out all the old stuff. So you're going to be able to very quickly facilitate new transactions, new presentations. My delete option is still there. archive. I'm able to make a very quick flyer. I can assign it, meaning I can give it to somebody else. So if I wanted Vanessa to do this for me, I could assign it to Vanessa by clicking the assign button on the bottom on the left, and then it would take it out of my presentation pages and give it to her, allowing her to take over. I could also click on the edit co-presenter option and just add Vanessa to this presentation so that her photo and her information shows up as well if she's going to help me to facilitate handling this transaction. So capabilities are the same. I'm just going to dive right into making the presentation on the phone so you can see how fast and easy it is and allow you to do this wherever you are to help you facilitate getting it into your day. It's simple. If you take your eyes, please, bottom right-hand corner of my cell phone, you should all see a big blue circle with a dot or with a plus sign in it. That's how we're going to add a new or create a new presentation. I'm simply clicking on that plus sign. And then I'm going to choose what type of presentation. In this particular simulation, we're going to choose a seller presentation. So we're going to do this with a property. And I'm going to hit continue. So again, remember, you can do all presentation types with this on your phone. A seller presentation, a buyer presentation, a full buyer tour, which is connected to Google. So it will actually navigate you through maps to one location to the next. It's very cool. And then you can also do your personal listing presentation here as well. In this situation, I clicked the seller presentation. So it's giving me my options here if I want to choose a template. I'm going to keep it where it is already highlighted as default seller because we've already pre-made these presentation pages. And then I'm simply going to type the name of who this is for. I'm going to say this is for Amy Smith. Now this is going to show to Amy Smith what I have here. So if I wanted to put her address, I could, but we want to make sure it's professional what we're writing here. The only other thing I need to do at this point is I decide if I want this to be a blue or a black residential, depending on which brand you're with, or if I want it to be branded luxury. So if you notice at the bottom, guys, it says presentation design. If I keep it as the selected classic, it will give me my normal residential branded template. So it would be branded Century 21 for Century 21 agents, or it will be branded blue residential for Coldwell Banker. If I wanted it to be branded luxury, all I do is I simply tap that button and all of the slide presentation pages are now branded luxury, not only with DBA, but in color and design as well. We're going to go ahead on the bottom right, and we're going to click create. It's going to seem like nothing's happening for a second, but just like on the computer, it's working and you're going to see a circle. There we go. It's building the pages. Now we've already taken the time to build interactive pages into the system. So it just needed 1 minute to get those gathered up for you. This is the same scenario as if I were on your computer, okay? The only difference is things are a little bit laid out, tiny bit different as far as the top part. So before I talk to you about the very top part, I want you to notice how where it says prepared for is exactly the same. This next section here where it says copy data from MLS number, that's where I would type in the MLS number that we're actually going to be sending over. So if you're doing like a CMA or a comparative market analysis, you'd put that property in there if it's been in the MLS in the last couple of years. If you don't already have an MLS number, then you would go ahead and manually type your information in here for address, anything you know about the community. So exactly the same as if it were on your computer. You can upload an image for the property, which will pull it from the MLS if you typed in an MLS number. Otherwise, you can browse and pull it in here from your phone. And again, more property information. Now, the beauty is if you already have an MLS number, it will populate all of this for you. And no, it doesn't have to be currently on the market. It just has to have been on the market at some point within the last couple of years to pull the data in. But now the beauty here is you can actually see all this information is blank. If I have an MLS number, let's say I'm just going to do a CMA for her, for Amy, and maybe she's not quite my client yet, but I want to show her what the market's going to look like for her today. I can actually jump on the MLS, look up her property address, find a previously existing MLS of when she had it on the market, let's say 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it would populate all this information. And then I'm still able to come in here and manually edit. So if I know something specific has changed since then, I'm just scrolling up and down. What if it came across and said she used to have 2 bathrooms, but now she told me that she's added a 3rd? I can still come in here and I can manipulate that as easily as I want to. So it's going to pull it in from the MLS, but you still have full control to show what is going to be shown. Now for training purposes and to be a little bit easier here, I'm going to go ahead and plug in an MLS number instead of typing all of that information in, and I'm going to hit copy. Now the great news is it's pulling the information in from the MLS for me. So if you notice now, without me typing anything in, I now have a location on Jacqueline Court. I'm going to continue to scroll down and showcase to you all of the information that was pulled, inclusive of the address on Google Maps. It's pulled in the photos from the MLS, but if I don't love this photo, and maybe it's twilight here, but I want a new daylight photo, I can either browse, click that browse button, and it will allow me to pull a graphic from my phone, if I've got one stored in my phone, which technically is something, it doesn't have to be something I took with my phone. We have an app called Google Photos that you all have access to within our company G Suite accounts that you all have. Even if you don't use them, just know you have them. But you can store your photos there. It lets you kind of grab your photos from there. Or if I typed MLS, it would let me select a different photo from your MLS photos as well. So again, yeah, it pulled that information in for me. But if I know she now has 3 baths, I'm just going to very quickly update what I do know on here so that it can be a more accurate information standpoint for your potential client. The remarks also show up in here as well. So just like on the computer, if I wanted to add my own remarks or change them, I could do so. But ultimately, there's 2 ways to navigate each page. If you take your eyes to the bottom right, please look and notice that it's a continue button in blue. That's one of the 2 ways you can advance to the next page. The other way is at the very top of your screen. Just like on the computer, it has the same options for you. But what it looks like on your computer is it stacks your options side to side. The only difference here is it's stacking them in a drop-down menu on this location. So if you take your eyes to the very top of the screen, you'll all see that my presentation is for Amy Smith because it shows her name right there. But underneath it, do you see where it says subject property and there's a drop-down box? When I tap that, notice at the very bottom of my screen now, it says 5 different options. Those are the 5 pages of clicking and creating a presentation on Present. So I'm going to tap that again, okay? I want you to watch my screen because I just want you to see where it goes on your phone. At the bottom of my screen right now, you don't see the options, okay? I'm going to tap subject property on the top, which is located underneath your client's name where it says Amy Smith. I'm going to tap that drop-down box. And now on the bottom of my screen, see how that popped up for you? And now my 5 different pages show up. So it's going to take me from subject property to search, then to listings and estimate and pages. If I wanted to go to the next section, I can tap one of those at the bottom or on the top right next to on the right of subject property drop-down box, it actually says next. So technically there are 3 ways you can navigate, but the easiest ways is to either click that blue continue button on the bottom of each page or on the top of each page, click on that next button. Just different ways to navigate you to make it easy for you. Go ahead and hit next. Now it's taking me to the next page. Now beautifully, this is intuitive. So it's already connected to the MLS. So instead of you having to take all that extra time, it's now going to pull the likelihood of comps in the area for that specific MLS number or that property. So it's going to locate them for you, give you the information. And if you look at my first subject property, which is ours, you'll see 13484 Jacqueline Court, and then it will actually say the word details in blue. It's in blue because it's clickable, meaning if I were to go ahead and click on details, it would literally open up that property for me so that I can scroll through the photos or I can look at the data. The reason that's relevant is because if I'm going to give a true and accurate CMA, I'm just not going to grab what they give me. I'm going to take a minute or two to actually look at the property and see if it is a relative comp that I want to include. Not all comps are something I want to show for that property, and there are reasons and regulations to why that might be the case. But if you take your extra couple minutes and just look through here, the great news is it's easy to include them on your presentation. So as an example, if I wanted to include the second one on here, which is 13526 Jacqueline, just to show as a comp of something that's sold already, all I do is I take my finger and I tap the house. See how it now has a check now that I've tapped it? So anything that you tap will be a property included in the presentation to show as a comparative, because this is going to be a seller presentation. We're giving her a CMA, a comparative market analysis of what other houses are happening sold wise, what's active and pending in relative to her property in her neighborhood. So I'm just going to keep these three selected and show you again the two ways to advance to the next page. On the bottom right, there is a continue button in blue. I can tap that, or on the top right, I can click right underneath where my photo is, the next button. Before I continue here, a very important thing is that this is pulling the different properties from the MLS for you based off the data that you put in initially through that MLS number. But if you wanted to include a property that is not showing up here as an MLS number, so as an example, if you are my potential client, you tell me that your sister's house is similar to yours and it's sold for $15,000 more than you're thinking that your house is going to sell for, you're able to tap, if you look at towards the top of the screen, next to where the location word is, there's one that says MLS number. If I were to tap on that MLS number, look up her sister's property and type that MLS number in, it would then include it into my presentation. Now, this is very important. If it was a true comp, it would have pulled it for me. But because it's not in there initially, it tells me that there's something triggering it to make it not a comp. Now, a lot of times it's location. A location, property in a different city isn't going to be a really true comparative in the city that you're selling in because it's a different area. So maybe that's it. Maybe it's just been totally renovated. But the benefit here is we want to appease their emotional connection and their physical ability to differentiate between those properties. Just because someone sold their house way over market doesn't mean there's might. We don't want to overprice it in the beginning and waste time on the market. We want to price accurately. So clicking on that MLS button just includes it in the presentation so we can use it when we compare each property. So right now I'm going to go ahead and hit next in the top right-hand corner, which is going to take me to the next screen. Simply put, we're almost done. It literally is just telling me to select what order I want the houses to show in. So if you can see, there's a drop-down box in the middle of the screen where it says order by, and then it says, if I tapped on that, I can just choose how I want the houses to showcase themselves. So I would have to say probably a lot of people, their mind just immediately goes to that low to high option. So I'm going to tap on priced low to high, and then it's going to show me those houses in order of their sales price. So lower to higher. Now I'm going to go ahead and click the next button in the top because we're almost done. It's really running us through these different pages very quickly. This is just our estimated pricing of what the system is estimating based off comps and also based off property data. Again, this is all estimate. So as you can see in here, the benefit here is they're saying it's roughly estimated at about $479,774. But if maybe, that was not the most current data because it was on the market 2 years ago, and they've renovated their floor, they've redone their kitchen, you're able just to delete this information out here. And then you're able to type in the number that you now feel, in your opinion, would be the best to estimate your property at. So you're able just to manipulate that as you need it to here. And then if you wanted to put additional remarks in here, you can do that right from your phone too. So I like this example I always give. You can say, okay, this was the price that was offered, that $499, but you could type in here, but if you put down new flooring or renovated in this room such and such, I then feel like we might be able to value it at about $10,000 more. So this is just giving them a gauge of what their property is worth today, but you can also put in your remarks that if such and such changes were made, maybe we can evaluate it at a different price point. Okay, so again, we can either click continue at the bottom or next on the top. I'm gonna go ahead and hit continue. And now we're done. It's already created the presentation for us based off the pages that we've made that are interactive. So this is literally just a layout of your pages. As you can see, it now says cover page on the top, then property summary, then listing location map. So these are the individual pages. I'm going to show you the presentation in a minute, but I just want you to see very quickly how you add additional pages on the fly. There's a big giant box with a plus sign in the middle, right at the top, underneath where it says presentation. If you tap on that, this is where it expands an option at the very bottom of your screen to then pull from an existing library where we have located and put your slides, or you can create your own. I'm going to go ahead and tap that again because I want you to see that. I'm going to tap on the plus sign, and then at the bottom, my options open up. If you were to create your own presentation page, you could add video. So anything from, let's say, YouTube, right? Your own video or something from the brand or whatever it might be. You can add in your own photos. So basically you have customization to make it yours. But for now, I'm going to choose the add from library option. And I want you just to very quickly see how fast I can plug in relevant pages to my presentation that I feel should be in there. The report pages that's already highlighted in blue, those are the pages we've already put into your presentation. CDX pages, those are the buyer intelligence pages. So if you included these two pages, it would then showcase where your potential buyer is most likely located. That way it tells your consumer that you're trying to talk to, your potential seller, not only can I position you properly on the internet, I also have a gauge of where your potential buyer might be to where I'm going to be marketing. So if I wanted to add these two pages in a second to my report, I'm just going to click the plus sign. And by the way, they're interactive already, so you don't have to enter data. It's intuitive, it's connected to the MLS, so it plugs and pulls that information in for you. If I decided I did not want something that I selected, it's as simple as clicking now that little red negative sign to take it out. And that's just as simply put, I can tap it to add it. I can tap it again to remove it. So you can see how quickly that happens. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and hit that little back arrow to the left to take me to my previous screen. So we're back in our library, and I want you just to see underneath that. My pages are the custom pages you've previously made in the past. Brokerage pages are your Schmidt family of company pages that we have added. So your blue book, your black book, our information, that is in brokerage pages. Underneath that are the Coldwell Banker branded pages. Granted, you can definitely comb through there and utilize what you want out of there, but if there's anything in there that's already in brokerage pages, use brokerage pages because they will be branded, not just Coldwell Banker. If you use brokerage pages, they will be branded to specifically your DBA so that it works for you. In this situation, I'm going to hit brokerage pages. It has the black book, which is our luxury residential magazine. And then the blue book, as you can see in there, we have that for the residential. And then we have the Century 21 branded versions for them inside their Moxi. So we've got Century 21 and Coldwell Banker, and we also have Sotheby's. We've taken the time to break them apart so that you only have access to yours and branded for you. We also have Join the Blue. So if you are an ASC or a manager, you can easily access those recruiting pages to help access more recruiting material. And then as you can see now, we've also added in Home Hub. So we know we just talked about this. It's a great new option for your client. So it'd be great to even show a seller what options you have. If I wanted to, let's say, click on Home Hub, I would just tap on it with my finger. And it's as simple as just hitting those little plus signs. Now, if I want to view the page before I add it, I'm just going to type on the words or tap on the words themselves. And then it gives me a little preview of that page. So I can decide if I want to have that page or not. I'm going to go ahead and hit the X to get back out of that page. I'm going to go ahead and hit the back arrow. Now that's it as far as adding a page. It's pretty simple. Now, how do you get back to your main area here? Do you remember how we had that drop down at the box before on the top where it says pages? I can tap on that pages and get that box back at the bottom and go into one of those sections, or where it says library that's already highlighted, I can also tap on that, and then I can click on where it says presentation, and it can tap me and take me in there. Now, a good note too, if you're on a cell phone, you all have a back arrow on the phone itself, so not even in Moxi. So usually you can go ahead and just hit your back arrow or back swipe, and it will take you back to the previous page as well. So that's it as far as creating the presentation and how to add a page. I'm going to show you now how to view it and share it. Top right-hand corner, we're looking at the 3 dots, because remember, 3 dots or 3 lines are going to be either a menu or settings. That's pretty much always the case. So top right-hand corner, basically it's underneath my agent icon, right? My photo. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on those 3 dots. Here is where if I wanted to look at it, I would click view, and it would allow me to see the view as far as what it would look like online versus if it was a PDF printed out. I can now send it by clicking on the send option. I can share it to somebody else and share. The admin have the ability to share that presentation to an agent if they wish. I can create a quick flyer, a virtual one on my phone. View quick flyer. I can assign this presentation to an agent. So if I was going to just at the fly need to jump over and go to a doctor's office for a family member as an emergency, and I didn't want this to get left, I can actually assign this to my coworker, Vanessa, and it would then pull the presentation from my present, put it in her so she doesn't have to recreate the wheel, and she can take off where I left off. Or I can add co-presenter, which is just going to add Vanessa to this presentation. So that way, when I'm talking to my client, if I'm going to be leaving, let's say in the next week, and Vanessa's going to take over, it would also include her photo and her contact information as well. For now, I'm just going to quickly show you how to view the presentation, what it looks like. And then we'll complete our session and open up some questions. I'm going to click on, once I hit view, it gave me web or print. So I'm going to say web. And now it's literally loading that interactive presentation. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is exactly the same as if it were on my computer. And then I still get my same information pages. I don't lose interaction. Okay, we know these are interactive pages. So as you can see in here, my information's still in here, my photo. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll up here. Now you can either take your finger and scroll up and down to get from page to page, or just like on the computer, there's a shortcut getting you from page to page. If you please look at the top screen on the left, right underneath the time, you'll see it says property summary. And again, remember that icon I said is like a menu, those lines? When I tap on that, that actually gives you each page of the presentation. So right now I'm on page 1, but if you can see, it goes all the way down to page 15. If I wanted to very quickly jump to page 5, which is my side-by-side comparisons, I can tap on that and it takes me to page 5. Basically, it just stops me from scrolling. So a lot of you guys might even be doing this on your iPad, even with your client sitting next to you. So if you don't feel like scrolling back and forth with your finger, you can tap on that menu option on the top left, and then I can very, very quickly click on cover page, and it takes me right back there. So it just helps you with that easy flow of connection of page to page. So I'll just run through real quick so you can see it. We've got all of our property information. We have the photo in here. If you want to click that show more, it'll just include more data information for you. It has those agent remarks. It is connected now to the MLS. So digitally, they can actually zoom in or zoom out on Google Maps to get a good idea of layout of where it is in your city. So visually, they're able to see if it's a good match based off location here. And then it's just breaking it down in different ways for you. So we don't lose any of our options. We still have the side-by-side comparison pages. So I know this just happened to be, it selected a couple properties, it just sold. But you always want to include some that are on the market now, some that are sold, and some that are pending. So you get a great idea of what's happening with each of your houses. But I don't lose interaction here. This is why I would always use this over the MLS, because not only am I getting the data for the analytical minded people that need to see those numbers, but I'm also getting the visual where if I tapped on the property itself, I'm still getting a full expansion of that actual page on the website. So I'm looking at the graphics here, okay? So as an agent, you're able to see if it's truly a match to your property. But if I'm the client receiving this on my phone, I can digitally click that button very simply, and I can look and say, wow, you know what? My sister's house or my neighbor's house that I thought was priced more higher than mine, and I wanted that price. Well, look at this photo. I can see it's totally renovated, and mine's not quite to that page or to that status. So what's happening is you're helping them to make a physical, mental, and emotional connection to the reality of the market today, and try to break some of that emotional connection to the finances they put into that property. They might have renovated it all, great, but not all renovations yield a reward when it comes to selling. So they're emotionally and physically invested. This just helps them to break that cycle of that connection of just what their investment emotionally is and their connection to what it needs to be priced at today. So if I'm receiving this, I'm very simply just able to get all this information. I don't have to go to Trulia. I don't have to go to Zillow. It's giving me all the information I need. I still can jump through and look at these photos and get a firsthand feel of the property. I'm going to go ahead and hit X on the top just to close out that one. But when it's side by side like this, I'm now able to do a true comparison to all the properties. And if one was a status of pending and one was still on the market for 6 months, then I'm going to say, well, what did they do? Because I don't want to do what they did. I think by looking at the pictures, I can tell they overpriced. So you're just empowering yourself as a realtor to enable your client to make the decision with you upfront for the best price for the least amount of market time, if that makes sense. So that's the side-by-sides comparison page. I'm just going to scroll up here. This is the status comparison. So if I would have selected more properties when we were tapping the ones we wanted to include, you would have gotten the solds, the pending, and also the active. And it just breaks it down by side-by-side comparison. And then the next slide is your listing averages. So you can get a good on average of your days on the market versus bed, just basically your home averages. And then we have the price and the days on the market. So it interactively show you that data. Then we have the days on the market, price and size. And then this is that approximate value page. So now they're able to say, see how it says 500,000 because I changed it. But if I would have put remarks in there, like if you would update such and such, it would show up right at the top underneath the photo. So you're communicating with your client seamlessly. And then it takes you right into your realtor page. And then if I would have added a co-presenter, it would have added that person there as well. So pretty simply put, it's easy process doing this on Moxi on your phone. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to jump into my Zoom. I want you guys to ask me questions. Is there something you want me to go back to or reiterate? I know we're right at 10:53, so we really do need to wrap up. I do want to let you guys know I'm going to try to do on my mobile because I think it's so beneficial to you, and then break it down and do each platform. So maybe on the next one, I'll do Engage, parts of Engage. Then maybe the next time I'll jump into the directory, and then the next time I'll jump onto websites. But my thought process is if I show you how to use this in your hand with your phone, which is always in your hand or on your presence at some point, then you're more likely to use the product to help your client to facilitate more conversions, to make more sales, and to have better business. Let's go ahead and jump into, let me move my little icon here. Let's go into my chat. Okay, so it looks like you had a little bit of an audio issue, and that looks like it was fixed after that. Does anybody have any questions on how to utilize this product, Moxi, on Moxi Present? If you do have any questions, go ahead and add them in here. I'll give you guys just a quick minute to do that, but I'm just going to very quickly reiterate what we did. Basically, from the home screen on your cell phone, you just go into wherever your internet browser is. So for you, if you're using Chrome, you tap Chrome. If it's Safari, tap Safari, whatever you use. Just like you were going to search for something at walmart.com, you're going to go in that search bar, but this time you're going to type in my.schmidtresources.com. Or if you've been there before, it'll show you the icon there, and you can tap on it and it will log you right in. It's very simple in the fact that it lays it out in the same form or fashion as it is on your computer, but it just changes the size to match your phone so you're not pinching and maximizing. To navigate within my account where it loads automatically, Next to my photo on the left, there is a menu option that lets me see the My Account section. I covered that on a previous Moxi Monday, so if you take a look at that, we'll show you how to navigate that. Today, we clicked on the More option at the top, and we got ourselves into Moxi Present, which is your listing presentation, buyer presentation, or personal presentation. I reviewed how we can edit an existing presentation by clicking on the top little icon next to the photo, which is an edit pencil. And then I also showed you how to create a new presentation. I think on this note, if I don't have any questions, we could go ahead and wrap up. And then feel free, this will be loaded later on this afternoon on our Schmidt video classroom. I think we might be good. Let me check one time. Good, I think we are all set. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this is gonna help you guys. My request is that as we do these sessions, please don't wait a week or two. Jump in today. You know you're gonna have your cell phone. Go ahead and jump in, play with it, get into your my.schmidtresources.com, play around with it. And then from this point forward, if you're with a client at the gas station or the grocery store, ultimately you're gonna grab your phone, you're gonna be able to jump in and add them as a contact, even put them in a campaign within a minute right from your hands. So you're not waiting till later, have one more thing to do when you get to the office or one more thing to do when you get home. Now you're able to just make a presentation from your hand, right from your phone or iPad. You can do anything with Moxi. Just a matter of me showing you on my own screen. On that note, I'm Elizabeth. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I appreciate your time today, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Have a great time enjoying your Moxi platform. Bye, everyone.